Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a down south education on Florida sports and athletics, it's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, everybody, and good evening. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols. I am your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Hello, everybody. I'm glad you guys could join me on this New Year's Eve. Okay. Lot going on right now. Definitely getting close to those New Year's 6-day balls, and something super exciting atmosphere that's always created when college football enters its ball season, and now we are reaching the pinnacle with the best games coming our way. Starting with today, a ton of great games to talk about. I can't wait to get into it. I'm currently watching the Georgia-Florida State game, as you would expect. Again, for those of you who do not know, I am a Gator. I hope both these teams lose, but hey, I already knew what was going to happen before it happened. We've been talking about it for weeks now, and so we're going to get into that in a little bit. But as always, let's start off with the NFL, guys. Let's talk about that. We're getting close to the end of the NFL season, and this is always about the time that I get sad. So for anybody else who can relate, football was the first thing I fell in love with in life. It was the first thing that I looked at, and I had the sparklies in my eye. If that makes any sense, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm a short guy, so I didn't exactly pan out to be, on that level of football. But I know I'm a good football player, and I love watching good football, and that's where this translates because, at the end of the season, you're kind of reflecting and thinking about how well your team did and what they didn't do well, what they need to focus on moving forward as they go into the offseason for those teams who are not going to make it to the postseason, and for the teams that are going to make it to the postseason, how can they win? How can they get into the Super Bowl? So that's something else that we're going to talk a little bit about, simply because, well, as fate would have it, one way, form, or another, all three teams in Florida are leading their division. What? When did that happen? What's going on in Florida? Somebody come look at this. As Kevin Hart would say, somebody come look at this. This is kind of awkward, guys. I can't tell you the last time that the three teams in Florida were playing this well consistently. Like, for the last few years, consistent, all right? Now, the Jaguars seem to be on the down and down. The Buccaneers seem to be on the up and up. Miami's been doing what Miami's been doing all year, and that's blowing people away with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So, there's not really much differential, but there's a lot to be excited about, right? So, to start, if you're a Buccaneers fan, like I am, we have the most to be excited about. Why? Well, a few weeks ago, the Bucs were sitting at 4-7. Okay? 4-7. And it looked like we were dead in the water. Like, let's just be 100% honest. It looked like we were dead in the water. And I don't know if, anybody saw this coming. I don't know if anybody has, like, Baker Mayfield as their comeback player of the year kind of deal. But let's just be clear. The difference is Baker. Okay, been watching every single game this season, guys, and Baker has just been impressive. Obviously there are things that aren't perfect, and no, we expect them to be perfect. First year, new offensive coordinator, new team, new everything, but he looks like he wants to be here, and he looks like a captain, for all intensive purposes, and pun intended there. This ship needed a captain. He stepped up, and I have to admit, I've been very surprised and happy with the performance. I'm not pleasantly surprised, but very surprised. And the reason why I say I'm not pleasantly surprised because I kind of had a feeling that this would happen. If you guys remember, we talked about this in the offseason. I said I think Baker's really good. I think he has tremendous upside, and I think it's just untapped because he's been in such an unsecure location, to start his career, going to Cleveland, where he had a great run game and a great offensive line, and, then injuries happened. They won a playoff game but couldn't get further than that, and you get this bad writing on the wall about Baker like somehow he's a bust of a number one draft pick. I wouldn't say that. And especially after this season, he has shown that he has what it takes to be a successful quarterback in this league. He's definitely a top half quarterback and not a bottom half quarterback. And that's something that people aren't paying attention to. And I just want to shine a light on that. And also, yes, Jacksonville is tied. The only reason why I said that they have the lead is because they're there, tied in that division where it makes the state of Florida look a little bit better, right? But they were ahead in the division. Obviously, they lost a few games, including this game that we're going to talk about, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is a great segue into that because the Bucs get ready to wrap up this season, and they're looking to clinch the division with the win over the Saints. Now, that game is tomorrow, but the game against the Jaguars last week, which was a game that a lot of people were wanting to see. People wanted to know, could Tampa Bay hang around with a potential playoff team? That was the question going into the Bucs and Jags game. Won 3 in a row, scoring over 30 points a game. Baker Mayfield throwing 1 interception, 10 touchdowns. Like, what's going to happen? Is Jacksonville going to step up? Is T-Law going to really, be the guy? Is he going to take this team, put it on his shoulders the last couple of weeks of the season, guide them into the playoffs and help them get a playoff win or more? Well, it looks like a lot of those questions were answered last Sunday, okay? Tampa Bay, they came to play. To say the least, they came to play. Mike Evans, typical Mike Evans day, touchdown. You can't single cover the guy. We've been saying this for years. For those of you who are in the NFC South or have played against Mike Evans enough, y'all know Mike is really good. He has potentially the best receiver in the league. Now, you have a lot of people that say, no, he's not. He can't be. You look at what Tyreek Hill's doing. I know, I get all that, but I'm talking about consistency-wise. You go out there and you say, I want to get a wide receiver, right? You say, I want to get the best receiver on the market. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to ignore the guy that's got 1,000 yards receiving every year since he started, no matter who the quarterback was. That's the bigger deal. Tyreek Hill's had Patrick Mahomes throwing him the football, and now Tua Tagovailoa. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league, okay? Mike Evans had Luke McCown, Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Guys, I want y'all to understand that comparison, okay? It's ridiculous what Mike is able to do. So shout out to Mike Evans. Keep going, big dog. We love you down here. And you got to get the fat contract this offseason, period. One way or another, Tampa Bay is going to have to give it to you. You're a Buck for life, and we all know it. It's going to come. It has to. But them being the Jags, who are on the down and down right now, T-Law hasn't been right ever since he tweaked his ankle, and that showed a lot more in that game against the Bucs. Now, the Bucs currently are either in first place or tied for first place for the best turnover margin in the game, meaning we don't give the ball away and we take the ball from the other team. That was on full display against the Jags last week. So in case you guys missed it, defense just completely shut them down, only allowed 12 points, a singular touchdown, wasn't even a touchdown actually, I apologize, I lost my train of thought there for a second. It was not, but it was an impressive game by Devin White, okay, who had a pick early in the game. He finally decided to show up. Good job, Devin. All right. Now, I know he's been bothered by injury, but I'm saying that because, hey, if you want to be the guy, you got to be the guy, right? So, Devin White really showed up, highest graded linebacker in the league this past week with his performance. So, congratulations, Devin White. Great performance. And then Antoine Winfield Jr. I've been saying this for weeks, guys. Y'all been hearing me say this every time I get on here. He's the Defensive Player of the Year. This man had 3 tackles, a sack, a fumble recovery, and an interception. That's ridiculous. I mean, who is this guy? What is he, Spider-Man or something? Is that who Antoine is? Is he, at nighttime, does he, put the suit on and go, save people from cars falling on them or something? Because the guy is just all over the place. He's magical. And understand this, the 3 tackles don't seem like a lot, but he's a safety. So, he's actually doing a lot more than just tackling. He's setting up the field so that way, for one thing, none of these receivers are in single coverage, which led to the performance that you saw on defense. No deep ball. Okay? Antoine Winfield has not given a touchdown all year. Guys, Defensive Player of the Year, I don't care. Go look at the stats. Go look at the body of work. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous what he's doing. Rest of the defense showed up. Carlton Davis left the game with a concussion. He will not be starting tomorrow. All right, he's not playing tomorrow, guys. He is out with that concussion. Did not pass concussion protocol, so just be prepared for that. There's a few other guys who are going to be out, including Shaq Barrett, but for the most part, most of the team is going to be intact. Only 3 outs. Everybody else is slated to go. That's the good news. It really doesn't get bad for Tampa Bay. Realistically, we win this game and we're in. When we're in, we control our own destiny. We have a chance to get to 10-7, which is a mark that nobody saw us doing. We had an 8.50 projected chance to win the division, with the Saints having the highest percentage chance to win the division. And now, how fitting would it be that we have a chance to win, what is it, our 5th game in a row against the Saints, and also a 3rd division crown, which we have never done in Buccaneers history before. Man, I love football. The Bucs' final game of the season is going to be against the Panthers. Should be a gimme. 2-13 is the Panthers' record. You know, I don't believe the Panthers are going to have what it takes at the end of the season. The only way we lose this game is if we lay down and get ready for the playoffs after beating the Saints. That is, excuse me, my apologies, guys. That's something for us to pay attention to. The time has to be determined still, so it could be 1 o'clock game, could be a 4:05. Not really sure. It should be a 1 o'clock game, guys. It should be. Yeah, it's a division game, but there's not, unless for some reason, you know, if the Saints beat the Bucs, then I could see why they'd want to flex that, because then obviously if the Bucs were to lose these next 2 games, there's a strong chance that they could be out of the playoff picture altogether. So that's something to take into consideration. I don't believe that the Bucs have much to worry about right now, and I think that's just because they finally reached the point of figuring out who they are, you know, on offense, and defense has been playing a lot better. It looks like everybody's getting more, you know, comfortable in their roles, especially the young guys. You see the young guys stepping up. Yaya Diaby's absolutely cooking right now. I think he's rookie defensive player of the year, in my humble opinion. He's got 6.5 sacks, hasn't played the entire season, and that stat by itself is absolutely ridiculous coming from the outside, but he's a monster. He's an absolute juggernaut. He's got a bunch of tackles for loss as well, so he's very disruptive in the backfield, and that's something that you look for, especially on that D-line, somebody that's going to be a potential, you know, home run hitter on defense, and that's your guy right there, Yaya Diaby. So congratulations to him. Can't wait for the rest of these young guys to improve more as this defense starts to take more shape and form. This past draft class was absolutely phenomenal, so I'm very happy with what the Buccaneers have been able to do. And of course, if winners are 5 in a row, the Bucs are on fire. You dang right they're on fire. Good job, Bucs. Keep going. We love you. Can't wait to see you play tomorrow. Let's win this division. Let's go to a 3rd straight playoff berth. Let's do it. Jags, on the other hand, which I kind of hung up on the Bucs a little bit because the Jags played the Bucs last week, and as you'd imagine, the Jags fans, you guys aren't going to hear this at all. I mean, look, realistically speaking, the Jags don't look good, man. They don't. I mean, Trevor Lawrence looks hurt. I think there's no other way to explain what we've seen over the last few weeks there in that regard. The run game has just been nowhere to be found, especially against Tampa Bay, which doesn't really surprise me. Tampa Bay getting back to his roots on being able to stop the run, something we were known for throughout the years, really throughout the decades, especially since we've been known as a defensive team, especially after winning 2 Super Bowls off of our first off of a defense, the second one off of all-around tremendous team play on both sides of the ball. So with the Jags, on the other hand, though, they are kind of trending down. They have to play the Panthers tomorrow, so this could be a chance for them to get their win back. They could, you know, put themselves in position to gain some momentum heading into this final week to wrap up this division. But that doesn't mean that they're going to actually be able to. This season hasn't gone according to plan. It started out pretty well for them, but this is not something to write home about, especially for Duval. All right. That game tomorrow is going to be at 1 p.m., so get ready for it. Not a big game, but it still matters, especially for Jags fans. The last thing you want to do right now is try to limp into the playoffs with an 8-8 record after losing God knows how many at this point. It's kind of scary, all right? Because when Bucs played the Jags, I thought the Jags would make it a competitive game. I truly thought that. Like, I didn't think that it wasn't going to I didn't think it was going to end up like this. This is the point that I'm trying to make. I did not expect the score to end up like this, especially with the team performing as well as it had, earlier in the season. I thought that they would find their momentum a lot faster, and because they haven't, there's alarm right now, especially going into a game against a 2-13 Panthers team. All right, the Panthers, you know, they have nothing to play for, but they're still going to gut it out. They're going to get that experience. They're going to play against a decent team in the Jacksonville Jaguars. If the Panthers win this game, I just frown at the final game of the season against the Titans, guys. I absolutely frown against that. we're in for a very bumpy ride when it comes to Jacksonville. That's the only way I can put it. So with tomorrow's game again against the Panthers, that's going to be a 1 p.m. Ball game. They're going to host the Panthers, so at least they'll be home for that game. But that's the only good news as far as the Jags are concerned. The rest of it is they still have to go play the Titans, like I said, who have a better record than the Panthers. So we'll see what happens. That game against the Titans is going to be Sunday, January 7th. That time is also to be determined just because, of course, they want to know, are the Jags going to beat the Panthers? And once that game wraps up, we'll know. It'll most likely be a 1 o'clock game, so don't get your hopes up. That's what's going on there for Jacksonville. Let's talk about the Fins real quick, guys. So the Fins have the best record of all the teams in Florida. The Fins are rocking an 11-4. They're going to go visit the 12-3 Ravens tomorrow at 1 p.m. That game should be a late game, in my opinion. Should have been Sunday night game, in all honesty. But that game is going to be... it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a clash of two completely different offenses that still want to run the ball, but the air attack is completely different. And that's something that I look forward to seeing, especially if the Ravens decide to open it up with Lamar. Obviously, Lamar is a treasure, so I really hope that this game turns out to be as good as it is. I hope it's a bit of a shootout. I hope somebody gets over 30. As for last week, I've been made into a liar, you guys, because I said that the Fins could not win a slow defensive game. I said that. I said that if it's a low-scoring defensive game that the Cowboys would win, and the reason why I felt that way is simply because the game's won and lost in the trenches, and I felt like the Cowboys line might be better on both sides of the ball. Not too much better, but better nonetheless. I was wrong. The Fins were able to beat the Cowboys 22-20 in a defensive ball game. They were able to make more plays at the right time, and it turns out that their offense is humming still for all intents and purposes as they continue on their march to an AFC East crown. Now, they have the Ravens tomorrow, and their final game is going to be against the Bills. That's going to be a division game. It could possibly be for the crown, but in order for that to happen, obviously, Miami would have to lose, and Buffalo would have to win out, I believe it is, to duke it out for the crown. It's looking like the Fins are going to hold on to it. I don't know really what to expect with these last two weeks. These are not going to be two easy teams to beat. I don't know if I have a score for you guys, but if I had to assume, and I'm not a fan of assuming, okay, let the record reflect that. I personally think that the Bills, not the Bills, but the Fins can hang there with the Ravens, though I'm still going to rock with the Ravens, and when it comes to this, I think the Ravens do an excellent job at controlling the tempo of the game. They control the time of possession in most of all their ball games, and they've done a tremendous job running the ball, especially when it matters most. I'll take the Ravens, probably 29... Ravens 29, Fins 24. Okay. After what I saw against the Cowboys, I think this game is a lot more evenly matched, but I do believe that the Ravens are much more ahead of the Cowboys. I think the Ravens are the best team in the league right now, and that's not going to change pretty much at all, more or less, regardless of what happens here. The Ravens have shown me enough. I'm absolutely impressed. Lamar's MVP. That's just what I see there. But that final game against the Bills, that's going to be interesting. Whenever the Fins and the Bills hook it up, it's always a very entertaining game. And there have been a lot of times in recent history where it's come down to the fourth quarter. So I wouldn't be surprised if either of those teams win the game. Next week when we talk about it, I'll give you guys a score update, especially after I see what happens here in this Ravens game. I do need to see a little bit more from the Fins right now before I just give them the division. But I absolutely think that that they control their own destiny. If they're able to win out, it's theirs for the taking. But the 11-4 record speaks for itself. Good job, Fins. Keep up the good work. And, the big question is, can they hold off Buffalo? I think they can. I think they can hold off Buffalo. I think Miami can win that game. But we're going to have to see how they perform against the Ravens. Because a demoralizing loss against the Ravens, that could spell disaster for the Fins, guys. Real quick, college football, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I am going to spread the sheet over the Knowles in a second because it's something we've talked about. But for the record, anybody who's interested in knowing this, the Gators have signed Craig Fitzgerald as the head of football performance, the director of football performance. He comes over from Penn State, the Nittany Lions. I'm a huge fan of Nittany, who lost earlier today, unfortunately, but it is what it is. They lost to the Ole Miss Rebels, who played a potent offense all season long. So, it is what it is. But Craig Fitzgerald, going to be a real good fit, I think, for the Gators. We're going to need something like that. Somebody's going to get in your grill and let you know when you're doing good, but also let you know when you're doing bad. We got to keep it real if we want to be successful, right? So that's something I think the Gators were lacking a little bit of, and I think that they're going to find more success, especially on the defensive side of the ball, hopefully coming up this year, adding this guy over to the director of football performance, like I said, Craig Fitzgerald, welcome aboard. We can't wait to see what you do with the team. Good luck, and we wish you nothing but the best along with the Gators. Now, the Noles. Excuse me, my apologies, guys. The Noles. Okay, I've said this for a few weeks now, okay, and I'm going to repeat it again. I understand FSU's frustration, and I agree with their frustration. I do. My problem is they're mad at the wrong people. What it comes down to is that, first off, it should be an 8-team or better. It's going to 12, but it should be an 8-team college football playoff. I think the 8 best teams should get in and dance. And from that point moving forward, situations like Georgia and Florida State being left out wouldn't happen, or at least the winner of this game would rightfully move on in the playoff picture. So that's huge. I understand Florida State's had a lot of decommits, or had a few decommits and a lot of transfers through the transfer portal. I get it, but as a Gator, we also had the same thing. A ton of it. It looks terrible for the Gators. We were in the top 10. We were approaching top 5, and then we fell out of the top 10 in recruiting due to the last few games of the season and Billy's inability to win against a hurting FSU team and finishing the season 5-7. So I understand the frustration there. But from Florida State's point of view, I've mentioned this before. The committee has already outlined many times what they judge for the criteria as to who will make the college football playoff. And in that criteria, it does state verbatim, strength of schedule and injury to important personnel, whether it be coach and or team related. Okay? Jordan Travis is without the shadow of a doubt the best player on Florida State's football team. When you lose your starting veteran quarterback, your captain of your offense, your signal caller, and your leader, and you look down the road and you see Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Washington, and Michigan, there is no way on a conscious effort that Florida State can be placed into that realm and say, hey, we can beat one of these teams. Listen. The best shot that you have is against Michigan, and Michigan's completely healthy. That's a tall order. We're watching this game right now. Georgia versus Florida State. Florida State alumni, fans, and people all around, as far as their fandom is concerned, feels that if they were to beat Georgia, that this should be their national championship. Guys, it's 49-3 with 9 minutes to go in the third. It was 42-3 at halftime. Florida State, I apologize. You can make whatever excuse you want, though I agree with what happened to y'all. Y'all were not ready without Jordan, not even close. Okay? So, y'all deserve the orange ball, and unfortunately, exactly what we thought would happen is happening. It's the same thing that happened to Georgia and TCU last year. Okay? I've been saying this for weeks. Same thing. Okay? Same thing. Let's lay it to rest there, Knowles. All right. Canes, they lost to Rutgers 31-24. I thought they would win that game because they had the better defense. Unfortunately, they were not opportunistic on offense enough to be able to win that game. There were too many mistakes all over the ball and on the field itself. And unfortunately, that led to the Canes loss there. Canes kind of in shambles right now with some people decommitting. And also there's the rumor about the NI deals that basically all these people are going there for the money and not actually going there to play ball. So that's something that could be concerning for Miami because attracting talent but holding on to it is two totally different things. So we'll see what happens there as college football continues to take shape as we head into the new year, guys. I know I've rambled on a little bit about what's going on here with football, but I just wanted to give you guys some details that maybe weren't always that clear, right? Especially what's going on here in college football right now this year. So thank you for having it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, and you have it locked here on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and as soon as I get back, we'll talk NHL, NBA, and some college basketball, all right? Keep it locked here, guys.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Locke.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys spending time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Yes, sir, and welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, this is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Guys, quick apology. If you guys hear fireworks in the back, I apologize. In the South, this is kind of a thing. I don't know if you guys do it where y'all are at, but they look for any excuse to do fireworks here in South Florida. So just this is something that you may hear again in the future, but that's just something that's here. They love to celebrate. They'll celebrate for anything. It's a huge melting pot down here. So if you guys have never experienced Florida before, it's got a little bit of New York, got a little bit of South California, and it's all over the place. It really is. But this is something that is custom down here. So don't be surprised if you guys hear fireworks throughout the show. I apologize if you do, but hopefully there won't be much of that, guys. Now, let's go ahead and get back into the mix of things. And next up, we got NHL. We got some hockey to throw your guys' way. Hey, listen, I'm always going to be proud of our Bolts here, all right? And so I understand we're not the hottest team in hockey, but we're doing all right, all right? We're hanging in there. We're doing all right. Let's start with the record, okay? The Bolts record is 17-4-5. I always look for the right way to attack this situation because we're so accustomed to the Bolts being, 1 or 2, when in the league, especially over the last few years, right? What you come to expect from Bolts hockey, and it's one of those things where it's not quite going that way this year. Like I said, 17-14-5, not a bad record. Just nothing to really write home about at the moment. We're getting ready to host the Rangers, who are rocking a 24-9-1 record. Now, that's a record to write home about. New York's playing really good hockey right now. They're not letting a lot of games go to OT. So that's a really good thing for them. But the Bolts, we're fighters, and that's what we do. We're gonna fight. And I do believe that we have a shot in this game. That game's gonna take place tonight at 7 p.m. So as soon as we get off here from the show, guys, go ahead and check out some Bolts hockey and go see our boys on the ice and do what they do down here in the South. That's gonna be a good game, though. Like I said, look for it to be pretty competitive. Unfortunately, the Bolts dropped the game to the Panthers yesterday in a score of a 3-2 puck game. It's unfortunate, but these things happen. No surprise there because, again, you can't win them all, right? And that's what this year is kind of a reminder, especially after all the success that we've been able to find. Now, the Panthers, they're doing pretty well for themselves for the most part, but it's not going to get easier. It's just not going to get worse for the Bolts as we continue on through our stretch. We've been kind of going up and down, facing good team, decent team, bad team, good team. It's kind of bouncing around. So that's going to return to form in the next game. After the Rangers game, look forward to seeing the Bolts versus the Montreal Canadiens. That's going to be on Tuesday, January 2nd at 8 p.m. So, guys, in turn of the new year, you only got to wait a day. Hockey comes right back immediately, bouncing right off the hizzy. That's going to be a good thing. You can't wait for it. The Canadiens now, they're rocking a 14-7 record, much more similar to what the Bolts are rocking right now. Just played a few less games, but hey, as long as the Lightning play solid hockey, they can win these next 2 games. Gonna have to do it behind tremendous defense, of course. Once we allow teams to start scoring, it seems to be a bit of an epidemic, and we've got to do a better job at containing. If we can isolate, and just play, sound hockey, score on our power plays, do what we have to do, right? Like, it's very, and limit penalties. That's the other thing we have to do is limit penalties, right? As long as we're disciplined, we'll be fine. The team is, getting as healthy as can be at the moment. I look forward to seeing what they're able to do as we stretch past on into January and the start of this new year. They're 3-1 in the last 4 games, so they're doing pretty well. They're trending upwards. They just got to continue that upward motion and try to continue doing that by getting a win here against New York tonight, huh? Very much simple for the Bolts as they're, figuring out this slightly new team. We've had a few changes, a few subtractions, a few additions all across the board. So this team is becoming more cohesive as a unit as the year goes on. And again, I continue to look for what they're doing. Maybe they can mimic the Buccaneers to find some success and, utilize teamwork. At the end of the day, that's what it's going to take, guys. So, good job, Bolts. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep trending upwards. Like I said, 3-1 in the last 4. Very good. Just got to continue winning. Got to continue with the defense. Got to continue scoring, right? Simple, simple, simple. Now, sign over to the NBA. Slightly different situation going on there. Both of our teams, guys, the Magic and the Heat, have the exact same record. That's pretty cool. Both teams are rocking a 19-12 record, guys, and it's not often that you see this. So it's a bit of an epidemic here in Florida, a good epidemic, clearly, of success, that, all the teams are finding success, and they're all plus 500. I mean, the only team that's not or the only 2 teams that weren't plus 500, major team-wise, was the Gators college football team and the Miami Hurricanes college football team. Those are only 2 teams. Everything else kind of trending upward, at least 500 or better. So, you love to see that. But when it comes to the NBA, again, that's good enough for tie for second, or was it tied for second or tied for third? I think it's tied for like third or fourth in the East. I'm sorry. I said second. I forgot completely about the 76ers. Jesus. That's unfortunate, though, to see both these teams playing so well and know that at some point they're, even if they were to make it as far down as they could make it, they'd have to play each other possibly in the NBA playoffs at some point. That would be an interesting playoff series. I don't know if we've ever had that as a playoff series. When LeBron was in Miami, I don't think he ever had to play against Orlando. And then after that, Orlando was never really good. They didn't make it to many playoffs. So this year is looking like the best possible year for Miami to end up playing the Heat. The Heat playing the Magic in the playoffs. That would be pretty cool. Don't you guys think? That would be very, very interesting. Anyhow, as far as the games are concerned, currently the Heat are playing. They're actually playing the Jazz right now. My dad actually mentioned what the score was a little bit earlier. So actually, if you guys don't mind, give me an updated score on there as I'm still watching the Florida State Georgia game. I could just pass it. But there's something about Florida State getting messed up. I mean, honestly, either team could get messed up and it'd be entertaining for me. So, go Gators. But you get what I'm saying. In any case, the Heat were up big in that game. This should be headed to the end of the third period right about now. I'm not exactly sure where that one is at, but it should be close to the end of the third period for that game. That game is going about the way you expected. Miami was winning, like I said. The last time I saw it was 28-27. I believe at the half it was like 54 like 48 or something like that. I don't exactly remember what the score was, but Miami was leading. Now, that's what's going on today. The Jazz aren't exactly playing great basketball or anything like that, so it's not like this would be a monumental win for Miami, but of course they're going to want to keep winning. Mid-third, okay, cool. So it's 69-65 Heat, mid-third quarter. About what I expected, right? Like, headed towards the second half of that third quarter. And again, Miami playing solid basketball this year. Just going to have to continue doing that, continue winning, keep climbing that east side. I don't think that the 76ers are as for real as they should be. I believe that the best team in the East is the is the Bucks, and that's just because I think that Giannis is unstoppable right now. Obviously, the Celtics are playing decent basketball, but the Celtics haven't won anything in a long time, okay? Let's just be fair. I'm not super concerned about the Celtics. I think that they're a very talented team. I think they're a great team, but it seems like when they get to the playoffs that they just, whether all the way up to the finals too, for that matter, but I don't know if they really want it. Honestly, I don't know if they really want it. I think select players do, Tatum, Brown, the people you expect to want it, but I don't know if the entire team is all in. I really don't know. We'll see what happens when the playoffs get here. But again, I think that that's a team that is susceptible to being upset throughout the playoffs. And we'll see what happens, though. The Heat may be the team to do it. They may not be the team. A good time for them to show that would be against the Clippers on Monday, January 1st at 10:30 p.m. That's going to be the New Year's Day basketball game, my apologies, that the Heat are going to be playing. Going to be a good game, and as winners of 4 in a row, this team is looking really good. You make it 5 in a row heading into this the turn of the new year is really going to make this game electrifying, so I can't wait to see what happens there. I should be watching that game. I'll be back and forth between that game and Monday Night Football and Monday Night Raw, actually, so let me not fib on myself, but yes, I shall be checking that game out. And then the Magic game, of course, I will be following that game tomorrow on my ESPN app. So the Magic rocking a 19-12 record, the exact same record as the Heat, as I mentioned before. They beat the Knicks yesterday. The Knicks are rocking a 17-14 record, so not a bad team at all. Just a few games there behind the Magic. But the win came in the form of a 117-108 victory. So congratulations, Magic, on being able to play such outstanding basketball all season long. Very proud of you guys and what you're able to accomplish with a very young team, but using a lot of tremendous teamwork, a lot of great defense too, may I add, by this young team that has been performing better than advertised, I think, in my opinion. So, good job, Magic, Dad. I know you're happy about that. I'm just hoping that they're able to keep that and continue on into the playoffs because, like I said, it'd be really cool to see the Magic and the Heat in the playoffs together. Now, as I mentioned to you, tomorrow they're going to play a game against the Suns. That game's going to be tomorrow at 8 p.m. That should be a really good game, especially with the Sun, KD and the boys, Devin Booker. That's going to be a very good game to watch, especially if we want to see how well the Magic can play against a playoff caliber team, in the Suns, the Phoenix Suns. So, look for that game tomorrow again, 8 p.m. The Magic 3-1 in the last 4. Of course, they've been a promising team, so we look forward to seeing what they do against the Suns. And then, obviously, as we continue to move forward, we'll see how this season unfolds for them. And I really hope that they make the playoffs. So that's my hope. Of course, the Heat, Eric Spoelstra, all those boys over there, down there, Jimmy Butler and all those guys. I hope that they're able to continue winning as well, because I'd love to see that series, Magic Heat series. Go NBA, put it in the script, will you? Do that for us, guys. Last up to this evening, or that I have for you this evening. My apologies, my English is a little off today, guys. Is college basketball. There's a little bit to talk about here. College basketball has whipped into a very interesting situation for the basketball teams here in Florida. The Gators are matching the Canes with 10 wins so far this season. And as winners of 6 in a row, they are absolutely on fire. Good job, Gators, men's basketball team. But you guys should know to expect greatness from that basketball team as well. I believe that the University of Florida is a very prestigious school. In my humble opinion, it's the most prestigious school in all of Florida. Of course, I'm biased. There's a lot of prestige with Miami, a lot of prestige with FSU as well, along with USF, FIU, FAU. Take your pick. But there's something about Florida. There's some magical Disney feeling that I get when it comes to the University of Florida, okay? Even when I was when I got to step foot in the stadium for the first time and running up and down the bleachers and whatnot, I knew that this place was special. And this is an example of it. I don't think that many people were expecting the Gators to play as well as they're playing this year, but would you look at that? 10 wins, 10-3 right now stands the record. They were able to beat Quinnipiac today, which is rocking a 9-4 record. Not a very similar record to what the Gators are rocking, but that score was a 97-72 beatdown. Good job, Gators. Way to get that W. Next game is going to be the big one. That's going to be against Kentucky. The SEC showdown that always seems to rear its head in the middle of the season, or at least early in the middle of the season, I should say, because these teams usually hook it up. And it's usually a good game. At times, of course, Florida's been blown out, but there have also been times where Florida was able to upset Kentucky, especially when Billy Donovan was there at head coach. And I have to admit, what a time it was to be alive when Billy Donovan was coaching the Gators. So good job, Gators. Congratulations on the victory. Keep on rolling. Let's go see you guys Saturday, January 6th at 12:30 p.m. for that Florida Gators Kentucky team. There's a strong chance that if the Gators were to win this game, that they could end up being ranked. I don't see why they wouldn't be ranked if they did it. Kentucky rolling in at a rank 8. Again, taking down a rank 8 would be very, very big for this young Florida Gators basketball team. And like I said, winners of 6 in a row. Gators are on fire. Good job, boys. Keep up the good work. Noles, y'all suck. And don't hurt my feelings to say it. You're losing in football, you're losing in basketball. Okay? No, I'm not sure what y'all got going on there across the street, but good luck to you, all right, over in Tallahassee. We're going to keep it in Gainesville, okay? The Noles are rocking a 6-6 record. They won a couple, and then they lost a couple. And they won a couple, and they lost a couple. It's about the way you get the 6-6, guys. So they lost to Lipscomb. That score was a score of 78-73. 3-point ball game. Yeah, I get it, but Lipscomb not rocking a bad record. They're 9-6. They're playing decent basketball. So good job. Shout out to Lipscomb. Hey, look, Noles, got to play better. Just got to play better. And it's got to be better defense, too. Because, let's just be honest. Guys got lost in transition. Watched a couple of minutes of that game, and I have to admit, it was unimpressive. So, you're going to have to work on that transition defense there, Noles. You guys are also going to have to work on setting up inside the paint, because that was also something that didn't pan out as it was supposed to. The next game is going to be against Georgia Tech. That game is going to be Wednesday, January 3rd at 7 p.m. So just in case you want to catch the next FSU game, it'll be right after the Gator game. You get a shot at both of those teams there within 24 hours of each other. So check that game. And like I said, 2-2 in the last 4 games. They won, loss, win, loss. You see the trend, all right? They don't have a stamina for a long series push, and the team just isn't developed enough to be successful right now at a high level, such as what the Gators and the Canes are doing, and they're not even doing it at the highest level, which leads me over to the Canes. The Canes, who were coming in as a ranked team, they're not ranked at the moment after suffering 2 losses. The Canes are rocking a 10-2 record. They were able to beat North Florida 95-55, but North Florida was rocking a 500 schedule or record anyway. My apologies, guys. They were sitting at 7-7, so it's not like that they were a team that really need to be worried about. The Canes were able to go in there and take care of business with a 40-point differential. Good job, Canes. Next game is going to be against rank 18 Clemson, rocking 11-1 record. That game is going to be Wednesday, December 3rd, 8 p.m. Just in case you want to check out some Canes basketball. The Canes have a shot. Okay, don't listen. This is not no runaway game. The Canes are right there as Georgia scores another touchdown, 56-3. I'm sorry, guys. I know I jumped from one to the other, but just in case you were wondering what the score was. Now, the Canes. Okay, the Canes. They have a shot against Clemson, all right? Canes, Clemson running 2 very similar programs, 2 of them trying to become powerhouses in basketball, return to the top, definitely make a play for the Sweet 16. I believe both teams will be able to make it in. I believe that Miami has a chance to beat Clemson here, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But go Canes. Hopefully you guys are able to dethrone Clemson. I'm saying go Canes with no conviction whatsoever because I actually like Clemson as a program. So, may the best team win. I'll say that. Let me retract my previous statement, may the best team win. But obviously Canes have a great shot to win that game again. That game is going to be Wednesday, January 3rd, 8 p.m., just in case you're looking for something to check out there Wednesday night. I'm going to be watching AEW Dynamite, but I will pop in on that game as I bounce back and forth. It's how I do it. Laptop, cell phone, TV, Xbox, the whole 9. Like, we're going to have everything going here so we can get the max out of that evening. So that's what's going on there in college basketball, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here on Palm Tree Sports Radio. Looks like the show is a little bit shorter than what you normally come to expect, but we're here at the end of the year as we get ready to wrap up 2023, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for this journey that you guys have joined me on. I really enjoy doing this. I know, at times I have, issues where I miss a week because of sickness or something like that. But guys, this really is something that I enjoy doing. I really enjoy, being able to just come at you guys with this information, share whatever new information I may have for you guys, and keeping you updated on what's going on here in the world of sports coming out of Florida. I love my state. I love my teams. I can't wait to see what happens in 2024 this year, setting up to be a very interesting one for the world of sports, and I'm a big fan of interesting when it comes to sports. It's been Corey Pujols hosting Palm Tree Sports Radio, not just today, but this year, this year of 2023, I should say. It's been a phenomenal ride here at IE Sports Radio, and I am very thankful to be here. Thank you guys so much again, and spend time with your family. Enjoy New Year's. Have a safe New Year's. I hope and pray that all of you guys enjoyed Christmas, and I pray for the safety and happiness of everybody out there listening and, moving forward with your lives, guys. I can't wait to be back next year. Hey, I can finally say that, right? Can't wait to be back next year. Thank you again for making 2023 very memorable, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to give you guys this information. You guys are the best. Have a wonderful rest of the year. Again, have a safe and wonderful time. this new year, spend time with your family, watch the ball drop, whatever it is that you do, have a drink, but don't forget to, hug the ones that you love, pray, and just keep putting your best foot forward in everything that you do, guys. I'm going to continue to do that myself moving into 2024, and I'll see you on the other side. It's been a pleasure. Have a great evening. Peace.